This is Matt for Into Boxing. Delighted once again to be joined by Eddie Hearn. Eddie, one of the most respectful weigh-ins I've seen. What was said between the pair on stage?
So John Ryder they were just staring, and Jacobs went like this, and John Ryder said, "Please don't underestimate me. Please bring your best." And Danny Jacobs went, "I will be." He said, "That's why I'm coming to your backyard. I'm ready." So it was respectful. You know, it has been. John Ryder's a lovely guy. So is Danny Jacobs, and I think they just both know they must win this fight. And I think we're going to get a great fight.
We also got a bit of a glimpse of Johnny Fisher.
Yeah.
Bit of a roar in here, and obviously 4-0, we talk about that. His dad's here again pumping him up, and he's got that big travelling army coming down. I've seen him do the call out on socials. That's going to be mental tomorrow night. Ali Pali's going to be bouncing.
It's a really tough fight for Johnny Fisher as well, and 4 fights in, because of his sort of the fact that he's a novice and with very few amateur fights, I didn't expect him to be fighting guys like this. And I think that it's not just the challenge of Ngima that he has to worry about, it's the challenge of walking out to this absolute madness with so much inexperience and staying calm and not using any nervous energy. That's as much of a challenge. So I was just wanting, Mark Tibbs is going to play a big role tomorrow night, but John's made good improvements and it's a really good heavyweight fight.
You think if he can handle it at this stage though, eventually, if all goes to plan for him, he'll be used to a big stage when he's doing it at this one.
He sells out, he may even sell out at the O2 for an English title, let alone a British title. That's how big it's getting. But he's got a great head on his shoulders. He's extremely humble. But he has got a solid test tomorrow night.
It should be interesting. Right, let's move away from this one. Conor Benn last night, it came out, I think Pro Boxing fans reported that Chris, I'm going to pronounce his name right, Chris Van Hearn looks to have accepted an offer. What do you make of that? It's got a bit of negativity online, but I suppose you're always in a no-win with Conor because everyone wants to see him. Everyone wants to see him move on. But talk to me about this opponent.
So Chris Van Heerden's last fight, he hasn't boxed because he's had some family issues. But his last fight was headlining Showtime against Jaron Boots Ennis in his last fight, and now he's fighting Conor Benn, and it's not good enough. And by the way, that fight ended on a cut in a no decision.
Yeah.
So he didn't even get beat up in that fight because the fight didn't unfold. He wouldn't have beat Boots Ennis. But Boots Ennis, for me, arguably the best welterweight in the world. So Van Heerden, super tough, southpaw. It's a real fight, and we know where Conor Benn's at. This is a perfect progression for him. And if it was okay for Boots Ennis and Showtime, I think it's okay for Conor Benn, but we'll see.
Did you hear anything back from Adrian Broner or anything like that? Obviously, I saw him on live the other day, and I think he mentioned they need to get the money right. So what's the crack?
He wants to have a warm-up fight first before he fights Conor Benn. Just because he's been so inactive, I think he wants to get active, and that doesn't really work for us. So we agreed a deal with Maurice Hooker for this fight, and a week later, Maurice Hooker hurt his back, so he was out of the fight. So we're very happy with Van Heerden. It's not done yet, by the way. But he is a guy that may get the pick on April 16th.
If it's not him, are the other options in place to come in, other names that potentially could?
There's a few other offers that we've made as well, but obviously, Hooker was the guy that we originally targeted. But we think Van Heerden's a very good fight, tough man.
Right, talk to me about Devin Haney, because we see George Kambosos, who I think since he's become, unified champion of the world, he's done all the right things. He's been absolutely everywhere, selling himself. The week after the fight, he was at the other fights. What's holding this up? Surely he wants to have an undisputed fight in Australia with Devin Haney. Is there an offer there?
I don't know what he's being told. We know no one works closer to the zone than us. They'd be very happy with a Devin Haney fight. Maybe they marginally prefer the Ryan Garcia fight. He's a big draw, but the undisputed fight is there to be made. And Devin Haney is ready to get on a plane. I keep seeing tweets from George Kambosos, who I love, by the way, saying, Devin Haney's all talk, he's ducking me. And Bill phones me up going, "What is all this? We don't understand." He's ready to get on a plane, no problems making a fight. The zone, we can sort that out financially. We've made an offer to Ludabella. We've never received an offer. Yes, we had a chat on the phone. We've never had an offer in writing for Devin Haney. Make us the offer, call our bluff, and we'll be there.
Wow, so that fight's ready to go as soon as they come back.
Training, he's always training. It's not a problem. They've got to get the money. George Kambosos wants to do his own show in Australia. 70,000 whatever, and then he calls on us to make him an offer. Doesn't really work on that. It's your show, but we've told you the financial offer that we can deliver from the zone to get Devin Haney there. So let's see.
There's talks, obviously. I think Bob Arum mentioned Lomachenko, but
he's the mandatory. So I think really he's got two choices. It's Lomachenko or Devin Haney, and Devin Haney's the undisputed fight. Let's get it made.
I mean, that fight seems to be one that makes sense to everyone, but we'll see what happens. But Joshua Usyk, when can we expect an announcement? Obviously, we're expecting Whyte and Fury, I think, in April. Have you got a date in mind?
May that fight, but you should get an announcement before the end of the month. We're travelling around next week to talk to various sites, and I think by the end of the month we'll confirm the venue.
What's the situation with Anthony Joshua and his TV deal? Because obviously we know he's committed his future to Matchroom, but does this mean for that fight it could potentially land on Sky or another platform? How can it happen?
Basically, all the offers are virtually in now from all the different platforms. Freddie Cunningham, myself, Frank Smith, 258 are looking at all of those. Then they'll be proposed to AJ, and he'll make the decision. He's the boss, and we'll advise on what we think, and ultimately he'll make the call. He's the biggest star in British boxing. He's does the biggest numbers in British boxing. So there's a lot of lucrative offers on the table, and obviously this fight, Usyk's involved in the promotion of that fight, so we have to speak to him as well, and he'll make a decision that he feels is best.
And just finally, have you had any update on Dillian Whyte? Has he signed a contract yet?
No, he hasn't signed a contract yet. We're waiting. We've received a contract, not quite the actual purse bid contract you're supposed to get, but I'm sure the lawyers will work away and get it sorted.
But we can expect that fight to happen and get done.
If the contract gets signed, yeah.
Eddie, thanks for talking to him too.